Locked in the back of the military van, Chase was dragged into a small holding kennel. The next few minutes were not something he'd ever want to live again. His uniform was stripped away, then sprayed with multiple kinds of mist. He either sneezed or coughed or shook his head as he was belonged with his tests. At that moment, Chase wished that he could melt onto the floor. He had never been so powerless in his entire life. Every movement he could backed up into a corner of the kennel, making every attempt possible to shield himself. "We got readings back from his uniform," a trooper noted through his mask, tall brown ears coming through his helmet. "No cross-contamination." "Well, that's one good thing," another said, shorter trooper with black flopping ears. "Instinate bioscan." Chase had hundreds of questions, but fear had sealed his muscle. His tail was curled underneath him, like letting out for even a moment would get chopped off. A beeping noise suddenly came from above, and Chase looked upward to see a small device on the top of the kennel. A fine, gridded-shaped laser was suddenly emitted, passing through Chase forward and backward. The puppy breathing had not been yet slowed, and every new instrument activated made him feel even more closer to wetting the floor. Two troopers read some kind of data over the tablet, then quickly collected their things and jumped out of the van, leaving Chase alone. He stayed cowering in the corner, waiting several minutes before he finally lifted his ears again. With one brown paw in front of the other, the puppy crept onto the iron gate of the cage and peeked out, careful to make little to no noise. The walls of the van were lined with a dark metal cladding, each with shelves and racks for various things. A footlocker compartment was in view just across from him, locked tightly with various bolts. The shelves carried spare helmets and worn sets of gloves, and discarded equipment Chase couldn't place the meaning of. His eyes soon fell upon his blue pup pack, thrown onto the side of his van. His mind raced, as options and ideas shot in and out. All the gadgets on the pack were bark activated. All he had to do was to say the equipment name and finish with a bark. Could he break himself out? Was that even an option? His question was answered when he caught sight of a gun rack fell 2 feet from his pup pack. 4 ideal assault rifles rested on their hinges, seemingly venting themselves from shedding blood and deafening violence. Chase gulped and he decided he would stay put for now. The door of the van suddenly opened again, causing Chase to scamper back to his safety corner. He could hear a dog march in, placing one foot after another, lifting his powerful body into the vehicle. The doors were shut behind it, and the puppy's heart skipped a beat as the dog casually walked to the steel bars and looked through. Their eyes were cold and stone, and hard face riddled with scars. They were blown in the black of color, and seemed to be another German Shepherd. "Chase, right?" the dog asked. "Paw Patrol Division?" "Yes, sir," the puppy breathed, as if fear was blocking its voice itself. "You passed the scan, and so did your friend." "Is that a good thing?" Chase gently picked up his head. "It's the only good thing," the dog growled. "Be good, because it means I don't have to kill a puppy today." Chase retracted his head and slunk back further. "My name is Cyrus," the dog said. "Captain Cyrus. Now let me tell you what you two were doing here. Now." Chase took a second to gather his bearings, tapping a foot on the ground. He had been brave in the face of danger, but this was something else. Cyrus was a whole new level of intimidation. His very presence suppressed any action Chase would have taken to stand up for himself. "We were answering a call about a missing woman," he explained, "and her dog." "And?" Cyrus pushed. "I don't know," Chase defended. "I just stayed outside and Rocky went in." "I've already talked to your mutt friend." Cyrus leaned back unimpressed. "He nearly ruined the entire crime scene by cleaning it up. Do you know anything about the DNA traces and evidence he could have done away with? What have we done wrong?" "You want the whole story?" Cyrus asked. "But keep talking. You're going to impede on the ACG's turf, which is adult speak for getting in the way." "ACG?" Chase asked. "I've never heard of you before." "Of course you haven't. We aren't stationed in this bay, and never have been, but in recent events have called us to your location, and you need to stay out of our business." "But we are here to help," Chase protested. "Sure you were." Cyrus rolled his eyes. These people were so used to a kid and his puppies solving all their problems. But this problem takes more, and the professionals need to take charge now. But we're the Paw Patrol. And we're the Assault Containment and Guild, the dog said, with a hint of pride in his voice. We'll let you go, but there can be no more interference, or we'll really put you down. Chase looked down sadly. Yes, sir. With Chase's notability up front, Cyrus could feel himself softening a little. He knew this puppy wasn't an innocent animal who wandered into traffic. As much of a joke it was, Adventure Bay did have law enforcement. Dogs didn't get the title like that from the prize and from the treat box. Listen, kid, Cyrus sighed. I know you mean well, but you need to move aside for one bit. Once we find what we're looking for, we'll clear out. What are you looking for? Chase said, tilting his head. Classified information, sorry. Not wanting to ask any more stupid questions, Chase tried to erase the tension by asking something friendlier. Are you a German Shepherd like me? The puppy's tail gave up the faintest big sigh of wagging. The larger dog chuckled. No, I'm a Belgian Malinois. We're a lot stronger than German Shepherds, believe it or not, and more suited for police work. You are? Chase could feel his heart sinking. Yeah, I thought you were one too, Cyrus shrugged. I guess two breeds look alike. Chase lowered his head for a moment, shuffling in his paws. Being so exposed and caged, anxiety was starting to build up within him. A feeling he tried to shake by presenting himself as not afraid. His attempts, however, failed, and Cyrus's presence, combined with him being a much stronger and better breed, was making him feel sick. And you say you were letting me go? The Malinois smile quickly died. In time, your friend is still in interrogation. Interrogation? Chase repeated with wide eyes, fearing for Rocky. As I said, you messed up the entire crime scene. Chase did not realize what just a couple feet away there was a van parked on the side of the road. Rocky, zip-tied and stripped out of his pack and uniform, was dragged and locked into a kennel just like Chase, even though this time he had already passed the scans and tests. The troops had more that needed to be done with him. The walls of the van were thick enough to suppress the pained cries of a dog meeting the edge of a baton. Evidence tampering mutt! The trooper barked through his mask, swatting Rocky into the wall of the kennel. What were you hiding? Rocky could barely stand, as sharp pain tore through his head, spending what little energy he had to cover his face. The mixed breed could already get so many words out of his quivering, studied voice, and blood spilled from his nose. After he passed the test, one of the ACG troopers decided to open the kennel and start a rather physical interrogation. I'm sorry, Rocky cried out. You have no idea the setback you just caused. The trooper clambered his paw on Rocky's arm and shoved it away, blaring down on his tactical goggles. No one does that out of blind idiocy. Now talk. I just wanted to clean. I like cleaning, the mixed breed whimpered, trying to defend any part of himself. Bullshit. Who likes cleaning? Rix, I don't think you're being convincing enough. The other trooper chuckling darkly. Probably not, snarled the interrogator. Then he turned back to Rocky as a metal baton emerged from his pup pack. Now let's see how many teeth I can knock out. He was interrupted by Cyrus opened the doors of the van. Rix, Marley, that's enough. The two troopers immediately stood tall and saluted. Captain Cyrus, sir. He's not talking, sir. Well, maybe because you're beating the hell out of him, he growled. Now get out. I'll take it from here. Yes, sir. The two dogs quickly left and jumped out of the van. Cyrus watched them go, giving a sigh of annoyance. He knew full well of the brutality enforced by the ACG troopers. Every higher-ups he had said to report, always good to ignore it. He eventually realized the cruelty of soldiers was being pardoned in favor of their efficiency and success in the missions. It was something everyone had to deal with. The Malinois approached Rocky, who was fearfully cowering in the corner of his kennel. The poor dog was bloodied and beaten rather harshly. Were you just really cleaning? Rocky nodded wordlessly. No ill intention? The puppy shook his head as a broken voice came out through. None. All right, just hold out for now. Cyrus tried to reassure him. You'll be let out go once we made our final reports. Chase and Rocky were finally let go after a half an hour. They were left standing on the streets as the AC troopers took the extra care to mindlessly toss out their fangs, along with their collars and uniforms. Chase was aghast at Rocky's condition, and he could feel his heart breaking as the mixed breed stifled his cries. The shepherd waited until the last car disappeared around the corner before reaching to his collar. His tag was blinking, meaning he was trying to call. Sighing, Chase tapped the tag and let it through. "Chase?" Sky could be heard. "It's us, Sky," he breathed. "Where's Ryder?" "Chase? Oh, Fink!" She stopped herself. "Ryder got apprehended a few blocks away. I got scared when I lost connection. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, but Rocky isn't." Chase winced, looking back at his brother in arms. "We're coming home. Tell Marshall to get the EMT gear ready."